You've probably noticed how certain ideas spread across the world like a collective whisper. They show up in forums, short videos, manifestation communities, and suddenly a specific term starts repeating everywhere, as if it were a key most people haven't understood yet. One of those terms is Tufti, and with it, a phrase that's become famous, Tufti'S braid, as if there were a secret point of attention capable of pulling you out of autopilot and handing you back control of the film of your life. But before talking about the technique as a practice, the more interesting question is, where does this theory come from? And why do so many people describe the braid as something that changes their mental state instantly? The universe in which Tufti appears is linked to reality transurfing, a set of ideas popularized by the author Vadim Zeland, a Russian writer known for keeping an extremely low profile. In public descriptions, he almost appears as an off-screen figure. Little exposure, few widely known interviews, and a narrative that reinforces the sense that the focus is the system, not the personality. That lack of spectacle is part of the magnetism. Many readers say it feels less like stage self-help and more like a hidden map delivered in an almost impersonal way. Transurfing, as a theory, is often described as a blend of esoteric philosophy with almost technical language. It presents reality as a space of multiple possibilities, a field of variations, where you don't create everything from nothing, but select lifelines based on inner state, intention, and choices. And here's a central point. The theory distinguishes two ways of wanting something. One is inner intention, which forces, pressures, and tries to control. The other is outer intention, which feels more like alignment, when you stop pushing life through anxiety and start acting from a steadier, more inevitable state. Within that logic, Tufti appears in many interpretations as a kind of symbolic shortcut to the right state, as if the real question weren't what you want, but from where you want it, from desperation or from presence. And that's where the theory of the braid takes shape. In Tufti's vocabulary, life is compared to a film, not a literal film, but a sequence of frames, thoughts, emotions, decisions, outcomes. Most people live hypnotized by the current frame, swallowed by the scene of the moment. The problem is that when you're completely inside the scene, you become only a character. You react, defend yourself, chase, lose energy, and transurfing insists on an uncomfortable thesis. Much of human suffering doesn't come from the event itself, but from attention being captured by the event. The braid, in that context, enters as a practical metaphor for something deeper, shifting the point of attention. It's described as a focus located between the shoulder blades, almost as if there were an observation point behind you. The theory suggests that by moving attention to that spot, you exit total identification with thought and enter an observer state. There's no physical braid. It's an image, a thread you hold so you don't get dragged by the film, a lever to wake up inside the scene. And that idea is powerful because it touches a universal experience. When you're anxious, you're glued to your mind. When you're present, you have inner space. The braid would be, in Tufti's narrative, a consciousness positioning trick. You don't change reality by force. You change the angle from which reality is perceived, and that changes the choices you make inside it. Now comes the second concept that gives the method its distinct flavor: frames. A frame here is treated as a frame of the film, a specific scene you choose to illuminate. But on the theoretical level, frames aren't just visualizations, they're a language. Because in this philosophy, the world doesn't respond only to your words. It responds to your dominant state, what you sustain internally, what you repeat, what you embody. Highlighting a frame would be a way of declaring which film I'm living, even before it fully materializes on the surface. And why does this fit so well with transurfing? Because the entire system is based on selection. You're not fighting the world. You're choosing a line of reality through the consistency of attention, intention, and action. But there's a third concept, often cited in transurfing discussions, that helps explain why so many people feel they can't change their life: pendulums. Pendulums, in this universe, are collective structures that capture emotional energy, dramas, debates, polarization, information addiction, comparison, repeated outrage, anything that feeds on attention. A pendulum grows when many people feed the same emotional frequency. And the thesis is simple. If your attention is being hijacked all day, your life becomes the product of that hijacking. You don't live your film, you act inside someone else's. That's where the braid takes on a more documentary meaning and a less mystical one. At minimum, it's a symbol of breaking the hijack of attention. A reminder, I can step out of the pendulum, and theoretically, whoever steps out of the pendulum regains energy, clarity, and direction, and that opens space for different frames, different choices, different outcomes. What makes all of this so appealing is that transurfing doesn't sell only hope. It sells a diagnosis. Humanity is in a trance, pulled by invisible forces like fear, desire, comparison, manufactured urgency, and Tufti appears as a character concept teaching a rare skill, not being swallowed by the scene. And here's an important point to keep the tone serious. This theory is not established science. It's a philosophical esoteric map, a set of operational metaphors. Still, metaphors can be dangerous or useful depending on how you use them. They can become superstition, or they can become inner discipline. The risk in this world appears when people turn the method into a religion of signs. They start hunting for proof, sensations, coincidences, and become dependent on the perfect frame, as if life were a control panel. The original theory, however, tends to emphasize one thing: lightness. Less force, less drama, more alignment. Because in transurfing, excessive force creates resistance. So if there's a mature way to look at Tufti, it might be this, as a language for something deeply human: attention, inner state, and direction. The braid as a symbol of presence. Frames as a symbol of choice. Pendulums as a symbol of how easily reality can be manipulated when your attention is cheap. In the end, the question this universe leaves you with isn't, is it real, in the literal sense? The question is this theory giving you more awareness or trapping you in a new kind of anxiety? Because what transurfing promises, at its core, is freedom of state, the ability not to be dragged by the scene. And maybe that's why Tufti goes viral. In a world built to distract you, anything that offers a method, even a symbolic one, to recover attention and direction will feel rare. And that brings us to the only question that really matters. After hearing all of this, are you more aware or more anxious? Because whether you take transurfing literally or symbolically, the promise at the center is the same: regaining your attention, your inner state, and your direction in a world built to pull you into other people's films. If you want, in the next video I'll go deeper in a truly investigative way, where these concepts came from, how the community interprets outer intention, what people mean by pendulums, and the most common misunderstandings that turn this into superstition instead of a useful framework. Now I want to hear from you. Does Tufti'S braid feel like a metaphor for attention? Or do you believe it points to something bigger? Drop your take in the comments, curious and skeptical or somewhere in between. If this video helped you see the topic more clearly, hit like, comment, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next one. And if you know someone who's deep into transurfing, or confused by it, share this with them. Sometimes a grounded explanation arrives exactly when someone needs it. See you in the next video.